Hey mamas, how's it going? Happy official back to school day for so many of you who have little ones. Um, I myself am, I guess you could say, lucky enough that Maddie hasn't reached that stage yet, although she is in daycare, so we made today extra special and treated it as though she was kind of going back to school. So we took a little picture of her. And just like sent her on her way. But yeah, so it's not as tricky for our family right now because we've sort of been doing this routine throughout the entire summer. So it's very easy for us to slide back into it because we've been doing it. But for so many of us, this time of the year, especially for moms, is so stressful. Um, and, we always try to figure out, like, each year I'm going to be better. Each year I'm going to be different. Each year I'm going to be blah, 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 blah. But the main reason why we are so stressed out during this time of the year is because we lack control. We are trying to get back into a new routine, and the transition is extremely hard because for so many of us, we've been in the laxical days of summer where, like either your entire family's off on vacation, like, if you're teachers, you have the summer off, or if you're working full time, you're taking like vacation. And either way that, the kids are at home. So it's a little bit more, I guess you could say, well, relaxed for some. For us moms that work from home, it can actually be more stressful when your kids are at home. But so the main reason, like I said before, why we get so stressed out is that it's this sense of lack of control. It's this sense of jumping into something unknown, or whether it is known because you've done it before. Like, this isn't your first rodeo. Your kids have gone back to school before. It can still feel stressful because, you're entering into this new unknown territory of, how is this year going to be? How is my kid going to adjust? If it's your little one's first time away at school, how is the first day going to be? This can be extremely stressful. I remember with Maddie, her first day of daycare was very, I guess you could say, intense. Like we tried to manage our energy as much as possible just so she wouldn't feel our energy and be impacted by that. So like we went into daycare being like, this is super exciting, you're gonna have such a great day, you're gonna have so many new baby friends. And she literally, from that, like, she walked into the classroom and looked at us and was like, I got this, see you later. And so we were like, oh, okay, cool. Like, no tears, no nothing. But again, so let's talk about this lack of control, because the thing is, it is in our nature as humans to, like, control is essentially the footing of our psychology. It helps us feel stable, secure in our lives. And when we feel out of control, it can mess with you psychologically. And as moms, so much of the control that we seem to have disappears, like, because of our kids, because you can't anticipate how they're going to respond, react. And the more you try to control them, the more frustrating it can be, because you have no control over your kids. As much as we like to try, we really can't control them. They're their own person. They're going to do what they're going to do. And so a lot of times we just have to let that go. But especially around this back to school time, that can cause us to feel extremely stressful when we feel like we have no control. And so some of the things that I like to do in order to relieve this is, and it's the exact same type of things that we teach in the Nourish Life, because just to go back to the control piece, a lot of the times with our diets, for example, the reason why we feel so out of control is because we don't know what we're doing. We have absolutely no idea what we're doing when it comes to food. We don't know how much to eat. We don't know what to eat. We don't know when to eat. And we're constantly fed all of these different bits of information from different sources that are telling us, this is the best way. And so you can really feel out of control. Even if you're on a diet that's, say, super restrictive, in that sense too, you can also feel out of control because when you're around food, because you have this now stress around food, because it's like, well, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't do this, I can't do that, which essentially like typically will always lead to binging. That's just a side tangent. But the reason why I talk about control and how to manage it in your day-to-day in the Nourish Life is because it does have so many, just like, going back to school, it has so many things to do with our diets. And so one of the things that we like to do, or one of the things that I like to teach in the Nourish Life, is how to find more time in your day. Because especially during this week, you're constantly crunched for time because you're establishing new schedules. So you're crunched for time. Like, I can tell you right now, like, we were super crunched for time this morning for daycare drop off. Like, so many, all the teachers are back at school. So many people are back on the roads again. And so like we had to add like an extra 15 minutes to our commute. Maddie slept at, like, you know what I mean? So it's about finding more time in your day so that you can make more time for yourself and get that grounded feeling back. Another thing that really, really helps with the sense of control is establishing schedules, which is why I always recommend, especially when it comes to back to school time, it's really important for parents to sort of dive into this 2 weeks in advance of school. And I mean, for all of you old pros, this, like getting your kids' bedtime routines back on track, waking them up a little bit earlier so they're used to, maybe not sleeping in as long. These are the type of things that will help you sort of establish that sense of control. And then, of course, there is the control about just generally taking care of yourself and putting yourself first. So it's doing the things like setting your own bedtime, making sure that you're getting 8 hours of sleep a night. 6 to 8, we'll say, is that's a good ballpark. Making sure you're getting enough water, making sure that this week you're being consistent with your meals as much as possible, which is also really good for your kids. So making sure that there's a breakfast time, making sure that everybody's lunches are packed, including your own, making sure that, dinners are ready to go. And so these types of grounding activities will really help to give you that sense of control back sooner than later, because it's, like I said before, it's the not knowing. It's the not knowing how the week's going to go. It's the not knowing how things are going to happen. It's the adjusting to the new schedules, and maybe that, Maddie's throwing tantrums in the morning, on daycare days. So I know exactly how that feels. But so I think that that's the thing. If you feel stressed out this week by any means, take a look at where in your life right now you're feeling out of control. And so I know a lot of times with women, I have this conversation all the time when I talk to moms about themselves and their lifestyles. A lot of times it is their diet. I feel out of control with my diet, especially this week. If you're going to be ordering in more to compensate for the fact that, you're back to school and things are a little bit stressful, as much as that relieves a certain element of stress in your life because you don't have to cook dinner, psychologically, it's probably going to mess with you because you're like, I'm not on track with my diet. I'm out of control with my diet. And so I think that that's the thing. So really being sure, a really good thing to do this week is to, if you feel super stressed out or super anxious, just know that a lot of the times that comes from a place of feeling out of control. So a really good exercise to do is just take a step back and look at your life and where you're feeling out of control. Right now, we're in a new season. We're going back to school. So things are obviously going to, like I said before, things are obviously going to feel a little bit uneasy, unstable. You're kind of establishing your footing again. But just in general, on a day-to-day basis, if you start to feel stressed out, if you start to feel overwhelmed, where in your life, do this exercise and just say to myself, where do I feel out of control? Where do I feel like I just don't have a handle on stuff? Is it my diet? Is it meal prepping? Is it I'm not getting enough sleep? I'm not going to the gym enough. I'm not taking care of myself. This morning, for example, we had a super late night last night with Maddie. She was really she was just not having good sleep. And then this morning I was supposed to go to a yoga class, but I couldn't because I was up with her and I was super tired. And so my morning felt a little bit like out of control. Like I was like, oh, I didn't get to go to my yoga class. This really sucks. But instead, I was just like, I was feeling super anxious this morning because I wasn't able to go. And so instead, I just acknowledged the fact of like, I feel a little bit out of control. I wasn't able to go and do the thing that I wanted to do. So instead, how I'm compensating is I'm doing an at-home workout today, just to kind of make myself feel better and move my body and get that feeling in. I'm bringing back that sense of control into my life. So I think it's really important as moms because we're required to be so flexible due to all of the other people and all of the other elements in our life to just try to recognize where you feel out of control in your life and where you need to kind of bring that sense of control back. So if you guys have any questions about any of the things that we teach in the Nourish Life in terms of the tools that we can give you to help establish control in your life and make more time and set more boundaries for yourself, feel free to hit me up in the DMs below this video. I would love to share all of this free knowledge with you. It's done wonders for me and wonders for all of the women in the Nourished community. So you can either DM me or just comment below on this video and let's talk about it. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great first day. You've made it through the morning. That's the battle. Now it's just pickup time and bedtime tonight, and you got Tuesday down. So you're doing good. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.